So this presentation is all about contextualizing Climate Week New York City. We're going to provide an overview of the event, its significance, key stakeholders, and themes. So New York Climate Week, also known as Climate Week New York City, is an annual event that takes place across New York City with activities in person, hybrid, and online. It's one of the biggest climate summits globally, typically occurring in September. This week-long event brings together leaders from all ages and backgrounds and from various sectors, including government, business, academia, and civil society, to better understand each other, identify alignment, drive the transition, speed up progress, and champion change that is already happening. During Climate Week, there are typically a wide range of activities, such as high-level meetings, panel discussions, workshops, exhibitions, and public events. The focus is on addressing climate change challenges, championing solutions, and fostering collaboration among stakeholders to accelerate climate action. So the agenda for today, who am I? What is YCC? What is New York Climate Week? Who attends? The history, United Nations engagement, civil society engagement, other key spaces, and opportunities for this year. So about me, my name is Pooja Tilvawala. I'm the founder and executive director of Youth Climate Collaborative, and YCC is a global youth-led community that's trying to create a more just, inclusive, and intergenerational climate movement that activates and sustains youth. Our key programs are around climate mental health, intergenerational collaboration and governance models. Then what else do we do? We have this new fellowship coming up on storytelling, so helping 30 young leaders learn how to improve their public speaking abilities and writing abilities to get content out there. Then we also do a lot of like trainings around COP, New York Climate Week, a lot of WhatsApp groups to share knowledge, and we have this platform that's relaunching later this year, hopefully by New York Climate Week, if not by COP, that's really going to help us coordinate our movement, make us stronger, and more easily share information and find opportunities. This list is just some other things I do. Then, oh yeah, and this is a picture of Sam and the team at the Entertainment and Culture Pavilion that we had at COP28. And they're going to do it again at COP29. YCC is now on the board. So what is New York Climate Week? I shared a bit about it. So many organizations use Climate Week as an opportunity to announce new commitments, launch initiatives, and showcase innovations aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions, increasing renewable energy adoption, and building climate resilience. It's a significant platform for raising awareness, sharing best practices, and mobilizing support for climate action on a global scale. It's also a great opportunity to hold decision makers accountable to their existing commitments, combat disinformation and misinformation, and push for action to match the level of ambition needed to stay below 1.5 degrees Celsius of global warming. Climate Week New York City 2024 will take place from September 22nd to the 29th and is hosted by the Climate Group, an international nonprofit whose purpose is to drive climate action fast. Climate Group hosts the official program during the week that brings together the most senior international figures from business, government, civil society, and the climate sector. The event takes place every year in partnership with the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, and is run in coordination with the UN and the City of New York. The Climate Group will host a main program of in-person events, including an opening ceremony and the Hub Live. In addition, the week will feature over 500 events spread across 10 themes in New York City, online, and around the world. This year's themes will be announced in the coming months, and you'll be able to see them at this link that's here. I'll share the presentation after the call. So Climate Week New York City is often seen as a warm-up event for the annual Conference of the Parties, COP, where delegates negotiate climate policy at the multilateral level. This year, the 29th COP will take place in Baku, Azerbaijan, from November 11th to 22nd. So who attends New York Climate Week? Who will you meet? Maybe you'll meet some of the people that are on this call today. You'll meet people of all backgrounds and ages approaching climate solutions from different angles. You'll meet corporate sustainability professionals, government officials, nonprofit executives, activists, educators, civil society actors, media, and more. Anyone can attend. However, some events are private and invite only, while others require tickets, most of which are free, some which may cost money. The type of events ranges from panel discussions followed by receptions to multi-day conferences to dinners, discos, marches, roundtable discussions, film screenings, concerts, you name it. So how did New York Climate Week get started? Some expressed the hope that climate solutions might scale up as fast as Climate Week has. The event began as a much more modest affair in 2009, when it was centered around panel discussions at the Morgan Library and Museum that brought international negotiators together in preparation for an upcoming UN Climate Summit. Rachel Kite, a dean emeritus of the Fletcher School at Tufts University, said the pace picked up in 2014 when Ban Ki-moon, then the UN Secretary General, convened a UN climate summit during Climate Week. A simultaneous climate march filled New York streets with some 311,000 demonstrators. That was in 2014. The climate tent has been growing exponentially the last few years and now encompasses almost every aspect of civil society. Catherine Hayhoe, chief scientist at the Nature Conservancy, wrote in a text message. What do you need to solve the climate crisis? The answer is everyone. From small panel discussions in 2009, Climate Week New York City has ballooned into a week-long happening of dinners, events, networking, and spectacle. Last year was the biggest Climate Week New York City in history, with over, does anyone want to guess? Actually, never mind, it's on the slide. With over 585 events across the 5 boroughs of New York. The theme for 2023 was We Can, We Will, and business leaders, political change makers, local decision takers, and civil society representatives used the week as a rallying call for the meaningful contributions still needed to halve, like cut in half, carbon emissions by 2030 and to be on a path to net zero by 2050. So does anyone here know what the theme is for this year? I put it in the in some of the group chats on WhatsApp. Does anyone remember? No?
Was it renewable energy or something?
No. So the theme is the time is now. So
Oh, yeah. That's right.
yeah. And so yeah, that's the theme. Anybody have questions so far? You can raise your hand so you get bumped to the front because I can't see everybody's faces. Nope. Okay. All right. Sorry, I need to make this smaller again. All right. So the next slide. Oh, and this picture is from like a Beans is How event where Google, they had this like really cool dinner where everything, even the drinks, were made of different kinds of beans to show like how we can still have healthy food that's less water intensive. All right. So why New York Climate Week? So this is Mustafa right here. We were at this one event at an embassy because embassies also host events because UNGA is going on at the same time. So why New York Climate Week? To combat doom and gloom, which are inspiring motivators in the short term by learning about the solutions at this solutions-focused event. Indeed, by one count done by the Wall Street Journal, the word solution appeared in 2023's Climate Week New York City agenda some 40 times more often than the word problem. You come to be inspired by the gathering power of people in the streets and the genius of the new entrepreneurs, said this one litigator. You can see the power in the streets being translated into solutions in the lab and getting to scale. You should come away with some renewed optimism. We're in the climate resistance. This is a battle. You need to get some of your energy from your colleagues, because if you're alone, well, okay, this is pretty bleak, but he said, if you're alone, you're going to die. So New York Climate Week is a fantastic place to make friends and meet potential collaborators, a great place for building community, healing, and being inspired. Which events should you attend? Sign up for anything that interests you and be prepared by forming your schedule in advance. For an estimate of what kind of events you'll see, look at this image, which provides a snapshot of the number of events held last year by theme. There is something for everyone. So as you can see, there were a lot of events on industry, policy, environmental justice, sustainable living, finance, nature, energy. There were less on transport, food, and built environment, but who knows, maybe that'll change. I know this year we're going to see tons on energy, tons on finance, still a lot on environmental justice, nature, policy, industry. Yeah, and I guess sustainable living too. What events are you all excited for? Or what kind of events would you like to see? You can comment in the chat. So Climate Group, the official hosts of New York Climate Week, they do this cool thing during their events where they have this live scribe. So as the events are going on, this artist, he was using whiteout marker, what are they called again? Dry erase markers on a whiteboard to just show a depiction of the theme last year, which was "We Can, We Will." And so this is the "We Can" drawing. You can take some time to look at it. Does anything stand out to anyone?
Interesting to have AI in it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was before ChatGPT really ramped up, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for it, but I don't see culture. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
you know, with always technology and innovation, but then our heritage for culture and ancestral wisdom, we don't have the same space. But this is very cool regardless, and I feel like it's very artistic and creative, and why should culture be in it too, you know?
Maybe it's in the next one. Let's see. Yeah, storytellers.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything stand out from this one? Or anything that's missing? What would you want to see? Sorry, go ahead.
You know that I love the positivity of like we can get it right with passion, hope, and action. You know, the determination of encouraging us to see both the tangible solutions. There is some I love like indigenous people, lands and right needs to be respected, like all the tangible stuff, but then also the empowerment and the overall positivity.
Yeah, very cool.
I
All right.
think. Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
It's interesting that construction was a good part of this one.
Mm.
I mean, we rarely see a lot of that in the climate justice conversations, but we see that there's a large privilege gap of when to discuss infrastructure in certain areas. And the closer you get to the global majority, you will see more of that because there's poor infrastructure or low infrastructure in a lot of areas. And there's also disobedience and a lot of different things that take place that continue to disrupt or reduce that infrastructure's integrity, which puts them more in vulnerability and also political crises or wars, for instance. So yeah, I'm kind of glad to see that infrastructure is a part of this and how it can also be done in a sustainable manner when you're rebuilding it or building it.
Yeah, and I really like this point of the Paris Agreement would help us if it was obeyed fully, right? Like because it's non-binding. This year, so I got to have a little chat with the Assistant Secretary General on climate change, Selwyn Hart, and he was saying they really need our help in just getting countries to follow through on their commitments, stick with their NDCs, you know, and they've been saying this for years, but really, whatever you can do to push your leaders to follow through on existing commitments and leaders of, you know, for-profit entities to follow through on their commitments, please take those actions.
And
So
to
the next,
normalize not meeting the commitment, but at least being open about it and explaining what your challenges were. Because I think a lot of the time when we don't
Yeah.
meet the commitment, then we don't say anything about it, and then that's what. So anyway, sorry.
exactly, like be more transparent about progress and impediments. Yeah. So, next, the part that you've all been waiting for, the United Nations, the General Assembly, and the Summit of the Future. So, I mentioned that New York Climate Week is held in conjunction with key UN convenings. These include the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, and the Summit of the Future. The 79th session of the UN General Assembly, also called UNGA 79, will open on Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. The first day of the high-level general debate will be Tuesday, September 24th. The UN General Assembly is the main policymaking organ of the organization, comprising all member states. It provides a unique forum for multilateral discussion of the full spectrum of international issues covered by the Charter of the UN. And you can read the Charter online at the UN website. Each of the 193 member states of the UN has an equal vote. The UNGA also makes key decisions for the UN, including appointing the Secretary General on the recommendation of the Security Council, electing the non-permanent members of the Security Council, approving the UN budget. The Assembly meets in regular sessions from September to December each year, and thereafter as required. It discusses specific issues through dedicated agenda items or sub-items, which lead to the adoption of resolutions. Sitting arrangements in the General Assembly Hall change for each session. Among others, COVID-19, conflicts, geopolitical tensions, and humanitarian crises in various parts of the world have posed severe challenges and derailed implementation of the SDGs by 2030. The 79th session will build on the momentum gained from the September 2023 SDG Summit to effectively tackle the triple planetary crisis of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. And then the Summit of the Future. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to enhance cooperation on critical challenges and address gaps in global governance, reaffirm existing commitments, including to the SDGs and the UN Charter, and move towards a reinvigorated multilateral system that is better positioned to positively impact people's lives. Building on the SDG Summit in 2023, member states will consider ways to lay the foundations for more effective global cooperation that can deal with today's challenges, as well as new threats in the future. So how many of you believe in multilateralism and you know, believe that the UN is needed? Nobody. That's so funny. Well, I
Hey,
really believe-
I could say, yeah, I think multilateralism and collaboration between nation states is definitely really important. I don't know if I think the UN has been like super effective in doing that, but I also don't know what needs to change necessarily. And you know, for so many people in this space, like we're all very frustrated and stuff. So yeah, I think the UN is like important, but I am very critical, and I do want to think about like how it needs to change and how it can be better.
Yeah, there's a lot of reform needed. The way I think of it is like, let's say you have a boss and the boss schedules a meeting, a one-on-one meeting with you every week. compared to if you didn't have a one-on-one meeting with your boss until like once every 2 months or something, right? If you have it every week, you're going to need something to show each week to show your progress on your commitments and the deadlines and stuff. And so that's how I like to think of the UN. It's like a great accountability buddy, I guess. Like at each COP, even each year, you have to be able to show some progress, or else it's going to look bad and be bad. All right.
If I could,
yeah, go
if I
ahead.
could, I think that, yeah, like I think multilateralism actually has a good advantage for standing up for other countries around you, for seeing how policy together can be formed and applied in different ways, and also creating that specific thought to different nations' situation. But the UN in specific, I think from a very a very criticized perspective, I believe it's a system that was born out of an imperial structure. And it just replaced that in the sense that we had different imperial spaces that have now become this new imperial large organization. And especially because it does serve or support some of the polarized decisions that are made by the global north. And I mean, we can see it today fail millions of people, while at the same time it does provide support, but that's after depriving support. So it does have a positive and a negative effect in a lot of different areas, because if UN does remove its hands from a lot of areas, they will be impoverished, more impoverished. But at the same time, they were only put in that situation through their imperial hands, I'd say. But yeah, I guess, especially like with the veto, for instance, like that's just the wrongest thing that has ever been created in history. And we've seen the impact of it in the lives of people, and not just the environment. So I guess that's just something to share on my view.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, many books have been written, articles have been written about Security Council reform. That is something a lot of people believe is needed and just is very hard to do. All right, so continuing on Summit of the Future, it's an opportunity to put ourselves on a better path. The proposal for a Summit of the Future originated in the Our Common Agenda report. The report was a response by the UN Secretary General to a call from member states for ideas on how better to respond to current and future challenges. The Common Agenda report called for a renewal of trust and solidarity at all levels between peoples, countries, and generations. It made the case for a fundamental rethink of our political, economic, and social systems so that they deliver more fairly and effectively for everyone. It also recommended a corresponding renewal of the multilateral system, with the Summit of the Future as a defining moment to agree on the most critical improvements necessary. Member states agreed to hold the summit in September 2024. They also agreed that the summit would have an outcome, a pact for the future. They articulated the overarching purpose of the summit and the pact. So 5 big purposes. 1, to reaffirm the UN Charter. 2, to reinvigorate multilateralism. 3, to boost implementation of existing commitments. 4, to agree on solutions to new challenges. And 5, to restore trust. These are the key focus areas of this year's Summit of the Future and the Pact. So does anybody know who the co-facilitators of the summit are?
Germany and Namibia, I think.
Yeah, that's
Germany
correct.
and Namibia.
Yeah, correct. So Germany and Namibia, they're the co-facilitators of the summit, and they announced the release of the zero draft of the Pact for the Future. The draft is intended to serve as a starting point for the intergovernmental deliberations this year, with the ultimate aim of adopting an ambitious, concise, action-oriented Pact for the Future per Resolution 76-307. So you can check out this zero draft, and I believe UNMGCY has already provided some feedback on the draft, but maybe if somebody on this call is part of MGCY can provide more insight on that. So the summit is a high-level event bringing world leaders together to forge a new international consensus on how we deliver a better present and safeguard the future. This once-in-a-generation opportunity serves as a moment to mend eroded trust and demonstrate that international cooperation can effectively tackle current challenges as well as those that have emerged in recent years or may yet be over the horizon. We already have the what in the form of many existing agreements and commitments, starting with the UN Charter and including the UN Declaration of Human Rights, 2030 Agenda, Paris Agreement, and Addis Ababa Action Agenda, and many others. So the Summit of the Future will look at the how. How do we cooperate better to deliver on the above aspiration and goals? How do we better meet the needs of the present while also preparing for the challenges of the future? The aim of the summit is to accelerate efforts to meet our existing international commitments and take concrete steps to respond to emerging challenges and opportunities. So the Pact will really focus on this how. It's going to be very action-oriented. It's going to be negotiated and endorsed by countries in the lead up to and during the summit in September 2024. And the hope is that we'll have a world and international system that's better prepared to manage the challenges of the present and the future for all generations. Anybody have any questions on all of this? Another key point is to discuss how we can come closer to achieving the SDGs, because as you know, 2030 is kind of the year that the SDGs are supposed to be, there's supposed to be more progress on the SDGs by then, and we're really off track right now. Okay, I see 2 hands up. How do you pronounce your name? Talif Hani? You can also
Thank you so
introduce
much.
yourself since you haven't had the chance.
Yeah, I think that will work. Let me try and see if my camera will work. Yeah. So thank you so much. My name is Tarifani from South Africa. And I just wanted to check because I was attending the ECOSOC Youth Forum just last month in New York at the head office or the headquarters. So they spoke about the summit of the future. But one of the key things that they raised was that you need to be, if you're coming from the civil society space or non-profit organizations, you need to be a member of the ECOSOC consultative. But then we realize that from where we are now as our organization, we are not accredited. So we're in the process of trying to get the special accreditation to the summit. So I wanted to check if you are able to just give more details on that, to say how do we then get that special accreditation so that we can participate. Thank you.
Yeah, so good question. As you stated, that's correct. You need to have ECOSOC consultative status with the UN in order to nominate people to receive tickets for admission or badges for admission to the Summit of the Future. And if your org does not already have the consultative status, then you can try to email or reach out to orgs that already have the status to nominate you for a badge. So that would be my recommendation, to figure out who has that consultative status. And there's probably a list online for that. And then seeing if you know any of the orgs and reaching out. Yeah, and I'll also share a link. I shared one link from the chats. Hold on, you can probably see my WhatsApps right now, but let me just share this real quick. Sorry. And Adil, did you have a question as well?
Yeah, I did. You may have mentioned this already, but so the Summit of the Future, based on like the slide, it sounds like a lot of the stuff that will be going on there gets covered at COP. So is this like a separate summit, like more focused on the SDGs specifically, or like how is it different than a lot of the work that's done at COP?
Yeah, so COP is more focused on climate change. This is focused on the SDGs at large, and it's a convening where, yeah, actually, that's enough said. This focuses on SDGs at large, not just climate change, and it touches on other key documents of the UN outside of just the Paris Agreement.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I haven't looked at the SDGs in a while, but it talks about like education and like gender equity and
Partnership
stuff
for the
like that,
goals,
right?
gender equality. Yeah, and during COP, like, you know, climate change is very intersectional. And so all those topics are also covered at COP, but at the Summit of the Future, there isn't a climate focus. Like climate change is a very important topic, so yeah, like a lot of people talk about it, but that's not the only focus. Any other
Thank
questions?
you.
And also, if anybody else has answers to any of the questions that are asked, like feel free to raise your hands, because I am also learning on the go.
If I can add something about the list of ECOSOC entities, that's what I did last year. So I wanted to attend a part of the UN event, and you needed to be a part of the ECOSOC. So there is a list online. What I did was I emailed almost all of them.
Yeah.
To see, and also because I think at the time it was only one representative from each ECOSOC. So you have to message them, ask them if they're sending someone or not, because a lot of them, they're based internationally, so a lot of them don't travel for the event. So check if they would have, if no one is going from their entity. The only thing is that they do need to type out a letter that's with their letterhead and stamped. So try to, if you can, like try to, I don't know if the process has started yet for the Summit of the Future, but basically you have to keep in mind is that you're going to have to approach all of these entities pretty early on. And I remember last year that as we got closer to the date, a lot of people had their letters, but it was taking time in the UN system to get the approvals. So try to find the ECOSOC list and think of where you're going to approach.
Sorry, I was on
thanks.
mute.
Oh, okay.
Wait, was somebody saying something?
If you're responding back, because I have another question. So if you're responding back, you can go ahead.
No, I was just gonna request that if somebody's in the Climate Ops WhatsApp group, can you share that link in the chat? I am trying to share it, but let's see. Actually, I got it. Okay. Please go ahead with your question.
No, it's just a quick question about the New York Climate Week. So are we expecting any kind of competition to get there, like how we see other conferences, like from tickets, for instance? Would they always be available? Are they hard to get? Just what is the proper preparation? And also if we want to be a part of the organizing teams, or we want to organize an event while we're there, what are some things or pointers that you think we should take into account?
Yeah, so New York Climate Week. Also, I don't know why my hand keeps getting raised. Sorry about that. But yeah, New York Climate Week, it's harder to get funding. There's not really competitions to get accommodations and flights and stuff covered for New York Climate Week. For UNGA, the Summit of the Future and such, UNMGCY does have a very competitive application where they do choose people to come. and get full funding or partial funding for flights and accommodation and a per day, like per diem, for food. So definitely apply to that when you see it. I haven't seen the application out yet, but if I see it, I'll share it in the WhatsApp group. And if anybody else sees it, please do share it. What was I gonna say? So yeah, I've seen that opportunity, and then some friends really just try to reach out to private sector corporations, and if you can justify your purpose for being there, sometimes they will sponsor your trip or reach out to people you know with money, like organizations you know with money that could possibly sponsor your trip. It's very relationship based, I've seen from what I've seen.
What if we want to like plan for an event during
Oh yeah,
that week?
so if you want to plan for an event, my advice would be to reach out to orgs that have venues or spaces that they could donate to you, unless you have the funds and can rent out a space. And then, you know, decide which area you would want it to be in. Do you want it to be near the UN? Do you want it to be downtown? You'll get different audiences based on where you host it. But start early. Like I would start like around now, to be honest, to like put together your list of people that have property and meeting rooms and event spaces to reach out to and see their rates, see who would do it in kind. And then, you know, we're going to host some events and we're going to look for venue space as well, and then people to help out to run those events. So I'll share about that in the meantime. Yeah, it's stressful, but a lot of this stuff is very relationship based. It really is. There's not like an application of like, hey, you want to host an event? Apply here and we'll find you a room. There's not really anything like that. The other thing that I was looking into for this time that I might do is there's this website called Listings Project that rents out like studios and such spaces, and you could just rent it for the month and it would end up being like pretty cheap compared to like if you rented out a big space. So that's one thing I'm looking into if we can't find any free spaces. Anybody else? Oh, and I was gonna say actually, some bars, if you're trying to host like a reception type event, they'll do deals of like, I don't know, like they'll sometimes give their space for free, since then people will then like buy cocktails and stuff. Jorge, do you have ideas or questions?
Yeah, I want to use these 9 minutes we have left to introduce myself and to answer some of those questions. I work in an organization named Agora. We are an organization with consultative status at the United Nations, so we support youth to find accreditations, to participate in international conferences, while advocating for the youth peace and security agenda. And within Agora, we have a project, Fund for Participation, where we are exploring how to reach out stakeholders, companies, so that they cover the travel expenses of the participants. So like we can provide coaching for free about that. And for those who are aiming to find venues, and I also wanted to ask if this is a space where we can like collaborate to organize an event together. And actually, there is a place where you may find all of the events that will be happening during the New York Climate Week to sign up for participating. So yeah, I can share that link later too. But for the venues, I know, for example, Pier 57 is a place that provides a free space for people to gather and to organize side events. The Brooklyn Museum is also providing free space for that. Most events happening outside the headquarters are held like in a surrounding area. So the UN Church Center is also another place where most of these events happen. And yeah, so I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, thank you. Shoot, you said something that made me want to say something else, but now I've forgotten what I was going to say. Oh yeah, so each year we also do compile a list of events and such, but I highly recommend the New York Climate Week website, where that's where you're going to find most of your events. They had like 585 people submit their event to their website last year. So you could just, they have a search engine and you can try to find what you need. Eventbrite is another great spot for finding events. And then there are some particular newsletters for more of your climate tech events. And then we try to just compile a list of lists. So, so we'll just say, look here, look here, look here, look here for your events, and we'll compile that list of lists for you to look through. And we'll also share any funding and other opportunities that we see. Yeah.
Pooja,
Yes.
I don't know. I had my hand raised up. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh,
but-
weird. It didn't come up on my screen.
Well, I don't know. I'm on the phone, so I don't know if this is right. But anyways, nice seeing you.
You too.
I know. I don't know if you can see me. I don't know if I have my video off. But
It's
I have a
on.
question. I have a question. Now, if we need to find a public space and want to do something for the public, how do we go about this? Do I have to ask? Who do I need to ask? The county? Do I need to ask? What permissions do I need for this?
So it depends. Is it like an interactive art exhibit that you want to do, or?
I want to do a public fashion show.
Oh, cool.
I want to do it for people, because what's happening is we have the New York Fashion Week that's going to be happening. I mean, everything is so exclusive, but nobody knows what sustainability is with
Mhm.
fashion. I want to do something which is public with the actual models and everything. The whole shebang that happens inside is going to be on the street. So how do I get this to happen?
Oh, that's cool. Did you want to close off streets, or did you want to do it like at a park or something?
No, not at a park. I would like to do it probably
Like Times Square, or like?
yeah, Times Square would be cool.
Yeah, Times Square, I think as an artist, like as a street artist, they all need like a
Permit.
Yeah, like a permit. They started this new program where like now I start seeing artists with banners behind them, where the government provides like banners that say like their name and QR codes so you can find them and stuff. I haven't really looked into the process, but if I see anything, I can let you know. Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. I know people have stuff at Central Park all the time without permission, and the other place that I think would be cool is Columbus Circle. I think Columbus Circle has like really cool events like that all the time, and they have this little section that's kind of closed off to cars and just has like these little tables that you could just like have the people walk through there. And I see them have community events there all the time with like tents up for food vendors, or like during Earth Day, they had that whole space with like little Earth Day tents and stuff. And they had people dressing up in like Japanese attire and things like that. And so I would ask like a city official that you might know, or check on their website about Columbus Circle. Maybe that's the one I can think of.
Okay.
Times Square is good. It's just really busy, but Times Square could be good too.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's my question. The other one would just be about during the climate week, since I told you about the peace flags, right? I mean, it would be nice to have that being carried through, but I don't know. That would be a different discussion. I don't want to mix things up here.
All right. Yeah, we can talk about that. Or if you want to ask the group if there's a question, maybe somebody here knows.
Yeah, so Pooja knows about this, and in fact, she's got this beautiful peace quilt that has been made, which we're going to display at the UN. So it's basically canvases that have been sewn together to form a flag, and we have like over 50,000 canvases. So there's this long flag, as long as it fits into the curved wall of the UN, we're going to be exhibiting it. But during the climate week, I was wondering if there was a way that we could get the youth involved where the flags could be carried on the streets and, you know, probably have a drone or something that can film it from above if you're carrying
Oh,
it
you
like
know
on
when you should do that? You should do that on the 21st. So the 21st is the big climate march. It always happens the Sunday before New York Climate Week.
night.
And
Okay.
that's when, like, you know, Greenpeace and all the other orgs with like crazy art pieces and stuff will come and you know, march with that. So I think that would be the perfect spot for it. I don't know when it needs to be set up at the UN, but if you could have it
That'd be
ready
cool.
for the march, that would be, I think, the perfect time.
Do you have people who would be willing to carry the flags or
We have a
be-
group chat. I'm sure we could find people.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, just let us know in advance how many people you would need and where you'd need us to meet and, you know, all that kind of stuff, the blurb with the time commitment and
Perfect.
instructions.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Adil?
Are there any events taking place during New York Climate Week that civil society and activists are saying are like greenwashing and they're trying to disrupt?
Oh, I'm sure there are. There's also like bank protests and like where people go in front of banks and protest. And then there's also protests against like certain fashion brands.
Mhm.
Who would know better?
Ex
Yeah. Go ahead.
Extinction Rebellion, right?
Yeah, Extinction Rebellion does a lot of that. True.
They do a lot, even during the New York Fashion Week, they were outside. So they do a lot of work like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. I think I have a few more slides actually. Let me just make sure. Okay, so civil society, the march to end fossil fuels. Sorry, we're going over a little bit. Anybody that needs to drop can drop. So basically, okay, civil society. Generally during the Sunday opening of Climate Week New York City, there's a march in opposition of inaction and fossil fuel expansion. Oh yeah, there's also Clean Creatives. And what are the other ones? Shoot, I forgot their name, but they will like hold up posters and stuff that show greenwashing campaigns or do like a parody on campaigns of people who do greenwashing. And okay, the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty Initiative, so they do really cool work too. It's organized by 6 Pacific nations. It's a global effort to foster international cooperation to accelerate a transition to renewable energy for everyone. So these are 2 cool things to check out. Sorry. Okay. Other spaces, there's the Nest Climate Campus from the 24th to 26th of September. Free registration is open. Nature Positive Hub, World Biodiversity Summit. Yale Planetary Solutions. There's like a journalism conference. There is the Global Citizen Festival. And you can already take actions now on the Global Citizen app to be eligible for free tickets to the Global Citizen Festival. Then to find other events, go to these different websites. And we'll make a list of lists, as I said. Then let's see. Details on how to attend Climate Week in New York City or register to host an event will launch April 2024. So that's probably available already. The master calendar of events will be available closer to August on the Climate Group website. If you're a climate leader, you can actually already apply to speak at Climate Week New York City with the official climate group at the link there. If you can't make it in person, don't worry. Many events are also available virtually, and the climate group events are all recorded and available. And then these are just some links to connect with YCC and me. And you see UNIC because they help fund the creation of these trainings for their network. Yeah, thank you. So any last questions or comments or anything like that? Philip? I didn't know you were here. Welcome.
Hey Pooja, great to be talking to you. And hi everybody. So many familiar faces here. So nice to see you guys. Anyways, last year, I remember there was a private sector forum at the New York Climate Week. Is there any way youth can get a bit more involved over there? I think that would be a really valuable opportunity for us to kind of like get our message across. And I think it's really trending, the Gen Z topic across corporate now. So I think we could have an influence there. I would love to get involved. I don't know anybody in particular who organized the private sector forum, but if anybody knows, please do give us some hints because I think that would be a great opportunity.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know, but honestly, with a lot of these, just like email them and reach out. Sometimes if I want to go somewhere and I can't afford the ticket, I just reach out, and like I would say 75% of the time I've been able to get a sponsored ticket through that. Sponsored meaning just the ticket is free, not the transport or lodging or anything, but at least that. And sometimes some of them, like I'll be like, hey, do you want any youth speakers? Can we do any intergenerational events or anything? Some people are receptive to it. You just have to then have the capacity for the follow-up and actually executing. But I would just say, just reach out, find them, find their email. If their email doesn't work, find them on LinkedIn and reach out.
Okay, we'll do. I'll reach out and see if there's anything. I'll feed to the WhatsApp if I get any ops. Thank you.
Sounds good. BB?
Yeah, so I was wondering maybe, you know, more about that. You said that one could get accreditation if the organization has a consultative status with ECOSOC. But for example, with COP, it was the case that governments also give out badges or other UN institutions. Is that the case for the Summit of the Future too?
Yeah, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but I believe you can also get it through the government, but I think that's harder to get.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. That was it. Also, thanks for the cool introduction to it. I think I learned a lot.
Yay. Okay. Anybody else? I cannot pronounce your name, but please go ahead. Whoever just unmuted. We can't hear you, unfortunately. Okay. Maybe you can type it in the chat since we can't hear you. All right. I guess that's it. So this was session 1 of 4. We're going to have 3 more of these sessions before New York Climate Week, and maybe a 5th one as just like a meet and greet of like youth going before the event actually starts. We'll focus more on like, you know, sharing the different opportunities and events and lists we see, as well as, you know, how to prepare for public speaking or a little pitch for yourself, for your org, and all of that for before you go. So, and as well as like logistics. And if there's anything else that you would want to learn, if you could just type that in the chat on like what kinds of training would be helpful in the next 3 sessions, that would be helpful for me as I put that together. So if you want to just write in the chat what kind of information or training would be helpful. Mukumfida, I think we can hear you now. I don't know, Khan?
Okay, thank you so much, Pooja, for the great discussions and this mesmerizing session. So I could say that it was very great. What I could add on the top is all about many youths are not able now to maybe attend the international events due to lack of funding and all those. But in case any chances for them now to attend the event, the international event, that can be great. Like last year, as I told last year, we met in the summit. I could able now to attend the UNGA, another one of COP, but unfortunately, I could not able not to attend. But this year, I hope I'll be there. Maybe God willing, I'll be able now to attend one of them. So or both, if maybe there will be any possibilities. So what I could add, you all about, many youths are not able now to, if we can be able to source some funding for the youth somewhere, or any organization that can be able to fund the youth, that can be great. So that, on my own perspective, I could think that these are the opportunities now to bring us together as young people, as the climate leaders, and also as young people now to change the planet and also to change on how climate maybe issues can be converted. So these events, the one that we will make us forward, because like in Africa, we have many challenges that we are not facing, but due to climate challenges, we have drought and all those. If we have no place to discuss them, we cannot burn out to maybe our voices cannot be heard unless you just go and tell them, the global leaders. So you just sit there at home or sit in your country, no one will understand your voice unless you go and try yourself in the public event like this. So anyway, let's see on how youth can be engaged on this maybe in this event. So that's what I could add. So in case any maybe opportunity for you to get funding, yes, that can be great. That's what I could add. Thank you. It was very great session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we did touch on this earlier. Unfortunately, I don't have the capacity to lead any sort of fundraising campaign or anything, but Jorge said that Agora is going to try to provide some advice to young people on how to fundraise for this. And then if we see any funding opportunities, we'll share them, like with UNMGCY, but they are very competitive. So I would really recommend just thinking through, who do you know that has the funds and could potentially fund this? Write out a budget. Like, honestly, the best thing you can do is be prepared. And so to be prepared, just write out a rough budget, right? Like, hey, and make just like a one-pager of, here are the reasons why I'm trying to go to New York Climate Week, and the Summit of the Future or whatever is happening, right? Here are my goals for going. Here's my necessary budget. So that would be your flights, your in-city transportation, like to and from the airport, and your daily transportation. Like for example, one ride on the subway is $2.90 now. So just multiplying that by, I don't know, like 14 or something if you're going to be there the whole week. And just write out a proper budget of how much money you need for per diem, food, et cetera, so that when you go to funders, you'll have this one pager ready and you can present that. And you can also have a plan of, after attending, my participation will go beyond me, because I'm going to create this social media content or these sorts of, these sorts of pagers or information sheets to take back to my community. And you can also say, like, these are the messages of my community or the solutions that I'm trying to amplify, or I'm trying to meet funders for my projects of this. This is a great place to meet them, et cetera, et cetera. So just like really explain who you are, why it's important for you to be there, how you're going to make this opportunity bigger than just for you, like how you're going to share it with your community back home, and then a little budget. So I would just have that prepared. Think about who you know, make an Excel sheet, and keep track of who you've reached out to, what they've said, and go from there. Yeah, I hope that's helpful. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So we've gone over. Thank you all for staying an extra 15 minutes. The next session, I think, I don't know when it will be, maybe July, like mid-July or something, because of travels in between now and then. So thank you all for joining, and see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Pooja. Bye, everyone.
And thanks for your help, BB.
No worries.